okay, good strategy here is Kirk Cousins, right? We learned this from you. Okay, so allegedly, Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings were very transparent with each other about what the future potentially looked like if he was to go back. They were going to take a high draft pick, potentially on a quarterback, even if he came back as a signed veteran quarterback for them. Now, that is potentially a part of the reason why he decided to not stay in Minnesota, ends up in Atlanta. Then Atlanta, boom, draft night, gets Michael Penix Jr. with the 8th overall pick. Shakes the entire world. Obviously, Kirk didn't know this was going to happen, yada, yada. So how much do we know of that to be 100% true? And also, how much do we know of that potential decision for the Vikings to be like a main reason why Kirk Cousins didn't want to be there, Albert?
Yeah, well, this goes back a year, actually, Pat. Like when they were talking about an extension last year, the whole thing for Kirk was that they weren't willing to guarantee anything past 2024. And, you know, going into this year, the same sort of context existed. They had told him last year, you know, we may be looking at drafting a quarterback high in 2024. Like, this might be the year we do it. There's a good class coming. The opportunity is there. We might strike. And so, you know, that all went into the decision not to do an extension during the 2023 offseason. They come into 2024. And, you know, I don't want to sound like an idiot here, okay? Because the guy did sign a deal for $45 million per year. And so you can't say it wasn't about the money, because the money is a factor in all of these. But I think the bigger thing to Kirk going into it was he wanted a contract that reflected that he would be the starting quarterback for whatever team he went to for the next few years. And the Vikings put an offer in front of him that guaranteed some, but not all of his money for 2025. And as they talked through it, the Vikings really never backed down from the idea that, yeah, we could take your successor in the 2024 draft. So part of the way that Kirk and his people looked at this was, okay, so if we sign this contract that doesn't guarantee everything in 2025, that they get out of after 2024, and they may be taking my successor in April, well, then I may just be the quarterback here for 1 year, and they may trade me after the year. They could theoretically cut me after the year if the young rookie comes in and kills it. And so he goes to market thinking, I want to find a place that's going to commit to me as the starting quarterback for the next few years, and I want that reflected in the contract. And the Falcons were able to do that by guaranteeing not just 2024, also all of 2025 and part of 2026.
Got it.
And the thought was, okay, going forward, now I'm going to be the starting quarterback here for the next 3 years at least, maybe for the next 4 years. And he talked about the idea of retiring as a Falcon. And never was it related to him that they could take a quarterback in the top 10. Now, the flip side of this is the Falcon side of it. Terry Fontenot, the general manager there, was in New Orleans in 2017 when Patrick Mahomes came out. And I'm sure you know, Pat, Sean Payton was very, very high, as were all the Saints people, on Patrick Mahomes. And they felt like the reason why they lost Patrick Mahomes that year is because word of their interest got out, and the Chiefs knew it. In fact, Brett Veach, who's the GM now, who's working in the personnel department there then, after they traded up with the Bills, texted, got him to one of the Saints people, clearly showing them, like, we knew you wanted him, and we're coming and stealing him from you. So for the Falcons people, for Terry Fontenot, who had come from the Saints, like, if we like one of these quarterbacks, we can't tell anybody. We got to sit there at 8 and we got to pretend that we're taking Dallas Turner or Byron Murphy or Malik Neighbors or someone else. And so, you know, I think it was, on one side you see Kirk's side of it, and, you know, I know I'm going on a little bit here, but on one side you see Kirk's side of it, which is, hey, look, like, you know, I walked away from this other team after they had been upfront and honest with me about it, and now I'm paying the price for that. For not asking the same questions to the Falcons. And then on the flip side, you have the Falcons general manager having been through something like this in New Orleans and having lost a generational talent as a result of it.
Yeah, and it's a fascinating thing because last year with the amount of backup quarterbacks that played, I mean, you know, and Kirk's coming off an Achilles. So if by week 9, 10, which we do not hope happens, because we all like Kirk and everything like that, but if Michael Penix ends up playing next year and playing well, they're going to look like geniuses because you need a backup quarterback anyways, especially with the way the league is kind of going right now. The only thing that was interesting is nobody expected it after the deal they just gave Kirk,
right,
with the holes they have on their team and the lack of success that they've had seemingly over the last few years. So obviously that's the big reaction. But hey, they're getting paid to do it, not us. The future will tell us if it was accurate or not.